Hi, this is Nancy Earl, and welcome to High Road to Humanity. I'm trying not to be too loud today. Is my microphone too loud here, Raymond?
No, it's fine.
Okay, cool. Hey, Raymond Keller is here, and welcome back to High Road to Humanity, Raymond.
Thank you. Thank you, Nance. It's always a pleasure to be here with you and all our friends of Venus.
Absolutely. And if you don't know, and I've got Venus Rising, this is one of Raymond's books that I have that I treasure. And if you don't know who Raymond is, if you haven't watched any of the previous shows, let me read his bio real quick. Dr. Raymond Keller has been involved in active UFO research since 1967 when he was a reporter for the Bedford Times Register in his hometown of Bedford, Ohio. I think that's great. And a research associate with Earl J. Neff, the founder and director of the Cleveland Ufology Project, what they called COP. Keller established his own group in 1986, the Outer Space International Research and Investigation Society, and it's OSIRIS, and it was published in an editor with Ballerin, star of the organization Monthly Organ. I can't read today, I don't know why. But I want to say that his book, Venus Rising, is another one of his books. He travels the world. He lectures about Venus and his research on his books. He's a former university professor. He's a volunteer in service to America. He's just done so much work, and he's written so many books, and he connects with the Venetians. So it's just really cool that you're here and you're back. And I guess the thing I want to know right now is what you've been up to since I've seen you last.
Well, Nancy, I've been up to quite a bit. Of course, the new book on the Gospels of Thomas and Mary Magdalene came out on the 22nd of December last year. And it's already doing very well. It was number one as new releases in the category of Gnosticism or ancient knowledge.
Wow.
So I was very, very happy about that. And it was number 17 a couple days ago. So it's doing very well. And I have some upcoming events that I'm going to be going to.
Okay.
On the 29th of April, I'll be in Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
For the Western Pennsylvania Mutual UFO Network, where I'll be the speaker. And I'll be talking about various paranormal phenomena.
Okay.
And also introducing a new book that will be released by that date. And I can't give out too much information.
Say what is it? And I feel bad that I haven't gotten the Mary Magdalene. I'm going to order it because I would imagine it's phenomenal, and that's why it's doing so well. But you've already written a new one.
Oh yes.
Wow. Wow.
Then of course the summer conference at Mount Shasta, I'll be there with Omniconic, the ambassador from Venus.
Right.
And that'll be a very special event. And Anya Schaefer from the Venus Spirit site will be there as well.
What's the date on that one in Mount Shasta? Do you know?
Yes, she was there once before in 2015.
But I mean, what's the date for the Mount Shasta gathering this year?
Oh, yes, that'll be the 22nd through the 25th of June.
Is it June? Okay. I would like to go. I think. Yeah. You guys, I think people should go. I mean, I don't want to like bombard your event, but I think this is something people should really go to. I mean, how amazing, right?
Oh yes, and there'll be many contactees there on multiple dimensional levels. Is physical dimension, and you never know when there might be visits from our extraterrestrial friends that occasionally take place. And every time people go to Mount Shasta, they always come away with an exceptional experience of one kind or another. So we look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, this is something I'd like to go to, and I think everybody should go to. What else? So is that it? That's a lot. What else you got going?
Oh, okay. I've got in the following month, in July, and July
Yeah.
18th, we have a commemoration for the appearance of Valiant Thor. And
Tell
it'll be,
people who that is if they don't know.
oh yes, Valiant Thor was an emissary from Venus who visited with President Eisenhower in the White House, and was resident in the Pentagon for 3 years, and revealed his identity to Dr. Frank Strange's. And he also attended a meeting of uh, Lee Munsick in New Jersey from the Civilian Saucer Intelligence, had a branch there. And they went to Howard Menger's farm in Highbridge, New Jersey. So I have many of the original photos by August C. Roberts, plus his typed comments on the back about what was happening
Right.
during the meeting, including other members of the group that are not seen and till now. And then inside Howard Menger's house, in his basement and living room, and then outside at night when they had a sky watch in the apple orchard. A lot of things that aren't known so far, and I'll be talking about these and revealing new photos and exciting information about Valiant Thor, the emissary from Venus.
How exciting. This is really cool.
He was the commander of the Victor One, ship.
Right.
And many at NASA at that time were tracking an unknown object in a polar orbit that they called the Black Knight. So that's believed to be Valiant Thor's ship.
Oh, okay.
So I'll have some information about that as well. And well, there's also information about the Black Knight in the
Venus Rising. I'll have to look it up and check it out. Yeah. God, you got a lot going, Raymond.
Oh, that'll be on the 18th of July. And it'll be for a few days.
Yeah.
Sponsored by the city of Highbridge, New Jersey. But we'll have information on that later.
Okay.
Working with a team of people there in New Jersey and on the East Coast.
Okay.
And the New York UFO Disclosure Group.
Nice.
It's going to be a big event. Draw people from far and wide, up and down the East Coast, and maybe from further, maybe even from upstairs.
I love it. That's fantastic. Wow. Lots going on. Anything else?
Oh, well, I'm writing a series of articles on George Adamski's second European tour.
Okay.
George, he was one of the early contactees, so-called contactees,
right,
during the 1950s. And his path in life led him to write 3 books about the Venusians and other extraterrestrials and their visits here to the Earth. And he was sponsored by the Scandinavian UFO Information Group in Denmark.
Okay.
To come to Denmark and Belgium, and where he answered some questions about the Venusians and their purpose here on our world. And I thought I'd share some of that information with you.
Yes, go for it. Do I need to allow share screen here? There we go.
Yeah.
That should do it for you.
And then let's see.
I just love when you come on, Raymond. You remind me of all this information that is so, that the Venetians are here helping us, and things have gotten crazier. I just want to say that. Were you looking for a file to share?
Oh yes.
Okay.
I'm going to read it, but
okay. Go ahead.
I can try to put it up.
No, it's fine. I thought you were going to share screen, so I was
there's some original pictures of Adamski there with Major Hans Peterson.
All right. Well,
Danish Air Force and
okay.
but I don't know. seem to be having a difficult.
And don't worry about it. I just thought if you had it, because you're usually good at this stuff. You're better at it. You're better sharing screens with the audience than I am, as far as the.
Let's see. I think.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay. It's up there.
Yes, it is.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Oh, wow. There's pictures. So if you guys are listening to us on the podcast, you can tune in and watch us on Binge TV. It's under HighRoad to Humanity. Just type in highroadtohumanity.com, or you can find us on YouTube if you want to see these pictures that he's putting up right now. Oh, look at this. What is that? That looks like a queen and angels.
Oh, yes. Well, Dante, who wrote the Divine Comedy in 3 parts. That would be the Paradise, Infierno, Purgatorio, and Il Paradiso, right?
Okay.
This is Dante Alighieri in the 3rd and 9th cantos, where he visits the sphere of paradise, or the heavenly sphere of Venus.
Wow.
He's accompanied by his beautiful consort Beatrice, who prepares the way for him. And he, in this particular one, he visits not only Venus, but he also visits the moon and other spheres, other celestial
Interesting.
that he writes about there.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is you were talking about violence and so forth, and there was a section in here where Adamski talks about that.
Yeah, because things have been so crazy lately, well, it's just getting worse and worse. You see these mass shootings, you see wherever you go, it's like no big deal to hear about all these different people being killed and violence and there's riots, and I just don't understand. I don't know. What do they say about this?
Okay, here's he talks about the economic system on Venus and other planets.
Right. Here's the questions. Yeah, these are questions.
These were Major Peterson. Oh, here it is. Brutality on Earth.
Okay.
So they asked him on the 5th of May of 1963, when he was answering the questions put to him by the Congress, the UFO Congress there in Scandinavia.
Mm-hmm.
The question was, why is Earth, our planet, inhabited by human beings, some of whom display the most horrifying brutality? Indeed, in this case, is the word brutality too mild of an expression, referring to the Earth people? And Adamski, it is true that Earth is inhabited by mentally subdued individuals. However, we are not born with that brutality. We absorb it from the negative cultural influences that have surrounded us since birth. We learn it at the movies, on TV, at school, in college, in the print media, and our whole lives through. Frankly, a change to the better will demand an alteration of the minds of this planet's inhabitants, starting with you and I. If we start with ourselves, kindness may spread out like ripples in the water. It won't be long after that conditions worldwide will show a registered improvement.
I agree with that, Raymond. Don't you?
Oh yes. And then I'm going to go back there to that other part. All these are appearing on Lon Strickler's website, phantomsandmonsters.com, and Rob Potter's.
Okay.
Revealed.
Okay.
To look at them.
Okay.
See that was the section 5.
This is some really interesting information. Well, 1963, it's been 60 years.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
This information isn't, oh, yeah, here it's on the economic system.
Okay. Economic
system of abundance that the ETs operate from.
Interesting. Go ahead.
So this was in in an interview conducted by the Mount Shasta, California Promise Revealed director. This is Rob Potter,
Okay.
Moon Base Commander Aura Reigns, on the 20th of November, 2019. And the question was, the select questions. I realize money as we think of it does not exist on Venus, and that your society works as one mind in accordance with natural laws. What can you tell us about how we can achieve the abundance and prosperity enjoyed by the Venusian society here on Earth?
Mm.
Of course, this was the answer. Again, it seems to me that a false belief is coming into play. Economic problems on Earth are largely due to false beliefs that are imposed by the leaders on this planet.
Right.
In many fields that, quote, there is only so much to go around. So, this is operating from principles of scarcity here.
Right.
This means that your people must fight over the crumbs of the pie, let alone getting a full slice of the pie, which of course can only be enjoyed by the oligarchs. On Venus, we long ago determined that the solution to this problem is to bake more pies so that everyone can be satisfied. Credits are based on what we can do to help our sisters and brothers meet their needs. On Venus, we even have a Department of Happiness
Oh my gosh.
process.
A Department of Happiness. I mean, seriously, I got to stop you on that one. I mean, because my goodness, let's just go with that. A Department of Happiness to oversee the process, that they help each other, and that's how they get their monetary, that's how they get extra. Is that right?
Right. That's how they generate credits.
Unbelievable. This is this is
then,
so great.
And then she said, continue in the light of Venus. This is Commander Reigns. Blessings to all in the ultimate victory of the light.
God bless. That's so fantastic. It just goes to show, Raymond, that this can be done. And there's just a few people running the show here. And I'm going to just jump ahead, if you don't mind. I want to ask you something. I know you're looking at this, but, with everything going on, and they even say they recognize that there's only a handful of people running the show here, and that it's all ingrained in us. She just said, from the time we were young, in our media, in our TV, in our movies, everything. Okay. So do the Venetians, have they said anything about when this can end, and when these people, this handful of people who are in control, when is this going to stop, or is it really just up to us again? Are we back to that?
Yes, it's essentially up to us. They'll intervene if the balance of life in the solar system is imperiled, or maybe even if the balance of life on Earth is imperiled. But they generally work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They want us to solve our own problems, because any dictatorship, even a benevolent one, well, ultimately, it's still a dictatorship.
Right.
Aura Reigns, when she was on the Earth, she had an identity as a science fiction writer, and she appeared at several of the conferences out in Giant Rock as Evelyn Smith, the famous female science fiction writer at the time. And I have photos of her in my fourth Venus book called The Vast Venus Conspiracy, with the radio commentator Long John Nebel.
Mm.
So talking to other contactees, a woman, Dana Howard, wrote a book about a visit to Venus. And then I have a set of 4 pictures of her at Dana Howard's table out at Giant Rock, talking to her, and holding up a copy of Dana's book about Venus. It's called The Vast Venus Conspiracy.
Right.
And in one of her science fiction stories that she wrote, it was about an advanced benevolent civilization from the stars that comes down to Earth and solves all the Earth's problems for everybody. Pollution, crime, anything you can think of, extending human lifespans enormously.
Wow.
But you know what? Despite the despite the kindness and benevolence, people met clandestinely to plot to overthrow, to get back the sovereignty of their own,
Oh,
own
free
planet.
will. Yeah. Okay. Of the planet. Right.
So, as Venusians, I think what they want to see is us to realize our own power, the
Right.
power that are latent within us, and to help us come into our own, so to speak, so that when we do enter the Galactic Federation, that we will be as equals. We will stand as equals, and not to be babysat.
Right. No, that makes a whole lot of sense. Well, I know that you have a message from the Venusians today, but before we get to that, I wanted to ask a couple questions. I want to know what you feel. There's been a lot of galactic activity. Every day I see something in the news. I thought that they were supposed to kind of hide themselves, but they don't anymore. It's like, so it's kind of a catch-22. I understand exactly what you're saying, that we need to figure this stuff out on our own. We all need to, become a kinder, each person, each soul has to become kinder and more compassionate. And I get that. But then why are we seeing so much activity? Is it other galactics coming in that aren't so good? What's going on?
Well, I do know that the former defense minister in Canada, Paul Hellyer,
Yeah.
he was in charge of defense in Canada during the Pearson administration from 1961 through 1964.
Okay.
He said that he knows for a fact that, well, he's been to Nevada, to Area 51, working with NATO and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He knows for a fact that there's at least 80 species of extraterrestrials on the Earth, and while most of them are good, some are not. So the Venusians aren't the only ones, that are here.
Right.
And of course, there are conflicts that take place in space as well between different civilizations. There are many confederations, alliances, and star groupings that are out there, because after all, the universe is a big place. There's about 10 billion suns or stars in our own galaxy alone, and who knows how many countless galaxies
There are.
there are. And so, well, the Intergalactic Federation has 601 planets in 51 solar systems.
That's incredible, Raymond. I mean, just
And
to think about that, honestly, I mean, that's just, it's crazy how big our world really is. And here we are, on our little planet here, just trying to get it together.
so well, Nancy, we're actually closer than some planets are to being a member of
Oh,
that Galactic Federation, because we're on the brink of many great scientific discoveries. As you know, in the news a few days ago out of California, there
yeah.
was the announcement about creating a sustained fusion reaction with the use of laser beams to augment the process.
Okay.
So we're gradually getting there, and I know in China they sent a photon. They sent a photon into the past and into the future, experimenting with time travel with just one little particle of light. So these things are happening. To the Venusians, however, and the other planetary federation members, they are concerned that before they proceed any further with us, they have to make sure that our spiritual understanding is equal to or surpassing our technological abilities, because
Mhm.
if they don't, then we're just like a bull in a china shop. So they can't risk that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, because there is a part of this. There are people who are running the show who would like to see us be more robotic. And, I've
Oh, yeah.
seen things like that, and it's very scary because, that's taken away who we really are and trying to make us more robotic. Do they have a way to intervene, or again, is that something that they can't do? Or talk about that a minute, if you would.
Well, they're followers of natural law, and they don't mind the use of bionics or technology to help cure people of diseases or help them with various prosthetics.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't be against that, but they
Right.
would be against fundamentally um, changing the human being, changing their mind or doing anything to take away using technology to take away their free will,
Well,
you know,
yeah.
to turn us into automatons.
Right.
They would definitely be against that, but they wouldn't be against, say, using uh, uh, regenerative cells or something to help people if they had glaucoma or something to help restore their eyesight. It wouldn't be against something like that.
Okay. Right. And I'm just, it's a scary thing, because there is a group of people who would like to see that.
Oh, yes, there's a transhumanist. There are some transhumanists out there, and they're
Mm-hmm.
walking a fine line, because if they go too far, we would cease to be human, and then start to become more of something else. And they've
Yeah.
seen this happened on other worlds,
Right.
sometimes to the detriment, sometimes to the good. It depends if the um, depends on the species, the compatibility, and the long term, because they have to keep in mind the cosmic evolutionary process that's taking place with individual species.
I say, but they won't intervene again because we have free will. Is that right?
Right.
Because that's why God doesn't intervene, and he lets it happen on different planets. And I was just thinking that as you were talking, I'm thinking, well,
Oh,
why doesn't the divine intervene? But he gives us free will and lets us do what we're going to do.
right. That's
Yeah.
true. And I guess, when you look at the Old Testament,
Mm-hmm.
um, Josh, or was it, I think it was Joshua who said, um, or Moses said to Joshua, I guess, that he had to choose who he would serve. And Joshua said, well, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
That's right. That's
So
right.
it just depends. You have a choice. You have a choice in this world which way you can go. So that was that case.
There you
So
go.
I wanted to share some of the other questions that maybe these
Okay.
were provided by the Venusians might actually be an answer
Okay.
to some that the listeners or viewers are thinking about.
Okay.
And
That's a good idea.
screen share. Okay.
Yeah, you
Share.
should still be good.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that back up there now?
It is. It is. Good
Oh,
job,
oh,
Raymond.
okay. All right. Yeah, I'm an old dog, but I can learn new tricks.
You're doing well. Yes, I
you
love
know,
it.
being a techie dinosaur, but I'm getting the hang of it little by little.
Yeah, we all have to. Well, there's always something new I'm learning too. Trust me on this one. There's always something
Oh,
different.
Okay, here's Paradise Lost,
Yeah, okay.
about the perfection and so forth. Why
Okay.
create? So this is the Europeans asked Adamski. Why did the Creator provide the people of Earth with Edenic planetary conditions, or i.e., clean water and pure water, when the greater part of these are being misused in the most dreadful way?
Yeah.
So speaking about green green ecology and methods about the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Adamski said, all planets are abundantly provided with those resources which will allow the people living on them to enjoy a carefree existence. So, in other words, we have everything we need right here on Earth.
Yeah.
The universe is filled with countless inhabited worlds, and on some of these, their respective inhabitants manage their natural wealth even more carelessly than we do.
Oh, wow.
However, the most highly evolved civilizations, which predominate in outer space, utilize their resources better than we do, that is to say, more efficiently. One day we too shall learn to utilize our planet's resources in a more proper and effective way.
Yeah. We've really gotten away from that. And it's really, I don't know. I'd like to see people come back, and it's nice to see that they say that it will.
Oh yes, yes, this is very important.
Now, this next question looks pretty interesting to me. Latent psychic powers.
Oh yes, do the space people have a third eye? Are they able to see the human aura and the radiation emitted from everything in nature?
Wow.
So that was three questions in one, right? So Adam
Yeah.
said three times yes. The so-called third eye is an expression for telepathy. The human aura is the magnetic radiation of a human being. Like everything else in nature, it emits its own radiation. All human beings are provided with three faculties, but only a very few know the science of accessing them, and this because they do not know themselves.
Wow. Which in the Bible it says, know thyself.
Oh yes, yes. Well, that term is in the Jesus mentioned it as recorded in the Gospel of Thomas on several occasions. It talked about it, but I don't think it's in the regular synoptic Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. But the idea actually goes way back to the Greeks and the temple at Delphi, where the initiate would walk under this archway, and it's said to all that entered therein, to know thyself is to
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
is the most noble aspiration.
It's true. And, a lot of us are learning to go within and to work on ourselves. And that's what this is going to take before we get to this point. Let's rewind a little bit. I just want to ask. So all the galactics that we see are from there's so many different species. So I'm just wondering if and I'm just asking this, why they're making themselves more apparent to people at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're making themselves more apparent and to select people in high places, especially. And
Okay.
this other question pretty much answers that. An
Okay.
extraterrestrial infiltration.
Okay.
Do you think that they asked, this is back in 1963 even, do you think there are space people inside the Danish government? And Adamski said, probably not in the Danish government, as they mostly work in connection with the governments of larger nations like the United States or the Soviet Union. I would not totally rule it out, however, insofar as I am aware of their presence in a few cases in the governments of some smaller nations in Africa and Latin America. Most frequently, however, they bring their influence to bear in scientific work under the auspices or in connection with the respective governments. Therefore, any extraterrestrial infiltration of Denmark is probably taking place in the civilian sector. So they're helping nudge us along in peaceful ways.
Hmm.
That
That makes sense, Raymond. That makes sense. The
yes.
next one talks about world government. What is
Oh,
that? Yeah, let's.
okay. Yeah, world government.
Yeah, I'm getting a peek on the screen about that.
Okay.
Yeah, what's it say about this?
So it says, Mr. Adamski, are you of the opinion that the space people can or will further the establishment of a possible world government? These are people from Europe asking him that.
Okay.
Or must such an objective necessarily wait for a sufficiently high development of humankind?
Hmm.
In other words, must the leaders of national governments realize for themselves the necessity of a world government and take the appropriate steps to have it established and duly recognized? Then Adamski said, there is no doubt that national governments will take the initiative, but only if the people, through elected representatives, voice a genuine interest. We all know the saying, the will of the people is the will of the country. Anything short of this will result in an oppressive dictatorship where everyone suffers as they currently do in China, Cuba, the Soviet Union, and all its satellite countries. The space people will not deal with thugs in control of the world.
Yeah. Well, and you can't blame them.
Yes. I mean, they would like to see us have a world government of our own popular choosing among all the nations and peoples of the world, but they certainly don't want to see it, nor do we want to see it forced on us by an oppressive dictator.
That's true. What else you got for us here?
Well,
Anything else?
that was
That's pretty much it on that.
that was for the uh, series of articles, and I still have about 4 more to go in this series on Adamski and his second European tour, including I'll have some more original photographs that have never been seen before.
Okay. That sounds cool.
I did want to say a little, do we have time?
Absolutely. We've got about 15 more minutes. Sure.
Okay. I did want to say about in the Gospels of Mary Magdalene.
Yeah. Should we take this? Do you have something to show us on the screen or no?
Well, yeah, I'm going to just read from the section.
Okay. Can I say something first before you do
Sure.
this? That's the gospel. Hold your book up. This is the gospel Thomas and Mary Magdalene, and I need to buy this book. I'm amazed that I don't even have it yet. I should have it, and I'm sorry that I don't have it in front of me today. But there's something that I pulled it up online, and yeah,
okay.
and I wrote this down. The Gospel of Thomas, a divine gift from the ministry of angels to their messenger, Raymond Keller. So reading this book, talk about this a little bit. This book was divinely guided for you to bring this message to the forefront. And I just wanted you to talk about that a second. And what an honor, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I just want the book to speak for itself because in mortality here, I'm just a human being. I'm just a messenger, a cosmic postman. And so I have my, I have my faults and everything, but I feel real honored to receive this message and to pass it on. And I know that if people read it with a sincere heart and real intent, that they'll obtain spiritual knowledge and truth out of it. There's 4 sections in here. There's the Gospel of the Young Jesus. There's the esoteric teachings of Jesus. It's written by Thomas. And then the 3rd book by Thomas is the Acts of Thomas as he traveled through India and met with different people and organized different groups and established Christian assemblies throughout India. And then what his fate was and his ultimate destiny. And then the last book is the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, which actually teaches us how we can access um, how we can access divine knowledge and powers, and it's just an awesome book. So I wanted to read one section out of there.
Please.
Okay. Oh, I have to say that the book was with the help of Anya Schaefer and a team in Germany put it together. There's myself with Omnek,
Wow.
the emissary from Venus. And then these are the illustrators. Inside it's illustrated by Dan Gorman.
Okay.
Worked with DC and Marvel Comics and done all kind of things, Star Wars and all.
Oh, wow. That is so cool.
And then Peter Holla. He's a famous artist in Germany
Okay.
who does children's illustrations.
Okay. So they did the illustrations for the book.
Yes, he's a good friend of Anya Schaefer at the Venus Spirit. And so he did this beautiful painting.
It is beautiful, by the way.
And
Well, what are you going to...
See, this is the pyramids are representative of Egypt.
Okay.
And in December of 1945, the Nag Hammadi Library was discovered at that site in Egypt. And then, and this is called the Morning Star,
Right.
the Morning Star version, because of Revelation 22:16, where Jesus identifies with Venus, the bright and morning star.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful cover.
Oh, thank you so
It
much.
really is. That's nice. I love it. I
So
like that the pyramids are in the back and the morning star. It brings it all together. You know what I mean?
Oh yes. And
Yeah.
in the so Egypt has been a redeemed country, really, because from the times of the pharaohs and Moses to the time of Jesus, when the Jesus and his family were able to flee to safety from the reach of the terrible Herod, seek sanctuary in Egypt. But this is the sketch of Mary Magdalene.
Oh, beautiful.
And
wow.
So I'm just going to read one section out of there.
Okay.
Because the program that Anya and I were working on was accessing the higher powers.
Okay.
And so it impressed me so she was showing some diagrams from Omnek, and I thought that what Mary Magdalene had to say really supplemented that quite nicely. So let's see, go back. Okay. When the master lived in India, before he began his ministry among the house of Israel, he learned many great spiritual truths among the sages of that far country. From the knowledge passed on to Jesus from his teachers there, he told me that there are 4 powers working to assist the seeker of enlightenment that must be mastered while that one is still living in the material world. Jesus said the first power is becoming acquainted with grief and suffering. Grief and suffering come from the unfulfilled expectations in the material world. By keeping our desires fixated on the kingdom and the righteousness of the Father, we shall be satisfied and grateful for all that we have, and great will be our eternal reward.
That's true, Raymond.
I always think of Matthew 10:33. That corresponds with that, because Jesus said, in speaking to the apostles, he said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then all these other things will be added unto you. So then Mary says the second power is putting an end to grief and suffering. Once aware of our grief and suffering, one must learn to praise and give thanks to the Father of lights continually, whereby light and love will be generated out through you. And as you learn to generate light, the darkness will be banished from you, and you yourself will be filled with the light of truth and comprehend all things.
And I like how she says the light of truth, because I'm always referring to Archangel Michael and his sword of truth, and she's his blue flame sword of truth, and she says the same thing. That's the light of truth, and that's a big deal to me. I just wanted to bring that up to the forefront.
Thank you, Nancy. That's an important part, because my mentor was Clayton Parker, who was the boyhood friend of Annalise Scarron, the woman who translated physically from Mount Shasta. And also, I have to say that one of her descendants actually was with me up at Mount Shasta.
Mm-hmm.
Tatiana Irvin here.
Mm-hmm.
And, so she was a big inspiration and a help.
And she talked about the same thing she talked about the light.
Yes, and they referred to it as the
light of truth, or what?
Like the flame of truth.
The flame of truth. See, that's what I've been picking that up, because Michael has the sword. It's the blue flame sword of truth. And when she talks about protection, I just want to throw this out. It just is all kind of coming together for me, when you read that.
And when you look at Genesis, the angel, a cherub, was placed with a flaming sword to guard the way to the tree of knowledge.
Gotcha. The power in that.
When they were expelled out of paradise.
Wow, I didn't realize. I'm gonna have to look that up in the Bible now. What else does Mary say? Wow, this is amazing stuff. So there were two. So we got two more.
There's two more. The third power is becoming aware of our delusions of anger and attachment. Yeah. These are based in an ignorance of the fact that everything in this material world is passing away. Everything that has shape or form will pass away. It's only spiritual things that endure.
That will stay, yeah.
And that each soul in this world begins to die from the very day they are born. Once one abandons their demands upon others and their desires for the things of the world, they are on the path that leads to gaining their celestial crown.
Yes.
And then the fourth power is finding and following the path of accurate knowledge, the knowledge that leads to life eternal. And, a lot of people, they criticize the Gnostics, but the Gnostic is a word for the followers of seekers of gnosis, or knowledge. That's
the truth. The truth. Yeah.
It is. And it's not something terrible.
Okay.
It's the word, when you think of the word occult means something that was previously hidden, but now is revealed.
Mm-hmm.
And like any great power, knowledge can be used for good or evil. Just like take atomic energy, you could use the knowledge to blow up half the United States or some other country. Or you can use it to power up with electricity, so everybody has clean energy in homes. And
it's free.
Yeah. So this is just a misconception that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
So then the fourth, let's see. Once one abandons their demands upon others and their desires for the things of the world, they are on the path that leads to gaining their celestial crown. So, we're here, and as St. Paul said, to work out our own salvation, right? Mm-hmm. And so we don't need to worry about other people and putting demands on them. This is, and even in the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, don't put any unnecessary um, laws or burdens on people that constrain them
Mm-hmm.
from 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 walking into the light, and then so this is all consistent throughout there. And the fourth power is finding and following the path of accurate knowledge, the knowledge that leads to life eternal. Very few have attained the realization that love is the greatest of all elements.
Yeah.
It is a non-material substance, the only remnant of the first or spiritual creation. Love is also a boundless energy and almighty power that manifests in all newly created life forms. Those that abide in love are already on the path that leads to the unseen worlds of light. After relating these profound teachings of the Master to the apostles, I bore the testimony of Jesus and how he freed my soul of all that had previously bound it to the snares of this world. I testified as to the transient nature of the material world and its fetters of oblivion. I now attain to the eternities in the presence of my beloved Jesus.
No,
That,
that's beautiful.
that,
I have these
was just that
writings.
yes, Nancy, that was just the one section on explaining about the four powers.
Well, where did this, okay, so let me back up because we only have a few more minutes, but that information, okay. So this information was found where?
Okay, this information, there were some extant scriptures that existed,
Okay.
but they were filled with lacunas or big gaps of space that from decaying fragments.
Okay.
So they were able to put more of these together with the finds at the Nag Hammadi in Egypt, and then then I had the supernatural help of others on this and the other side of the veil to help
Okay.
and to help fill in the blanks even more.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, because this is really, and everything you said, Raymond, I just want to say, is, man, what Mary said was absolutely right on. I just listened to the steps, and that's what, I can only speak for myself, but those are the steps that I've had to go through, and then I'm still working on. And what about you? Same thing, huh?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
As long as we're in this world,
Yeah.
we we have to remember that that we're here because we're in school.
Yeah.
Here because we were sent here to learn certain things, to go on to other worlds and to higher glories and crowns of glory upon glory. And this is what what Anna Lee taught Clayton and what Clayton taught me, and it's a privilege to just share it with you and your audience.
I know, I love it. It's just exciting. Actually, it's exciting as you talk about this. It's exciting to learn like you just said, learn what we came here to learn and then move forward. There's a lot more out there. There's some more excitement and more, the more we work on ourselves here, I feel like the cooler it's going to be once we leave this planet and go to the next plane. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yes. And I mean, some people might say it's crazy, but the Dantes went to Venus. Emanuel Swedenborg visited Venus, the founder of the New Jerusalem Church, and and wrote about it. And then going back all the way to the beginning of time, there are people that have documented their encounters with Venusians or even trips to the planet of love, to Venus.
Right. Before we get out of here, Raymond, I wanted to see if there is a message that the Venusians wanted to share with the audience today.
Well, yes, I think what I'll do is share that this comments from Adamski about religion, because
Okay,
he got it down really well. Let me pull
okay.
one back.
And then we'll get out of here. We could do, you're gonna have to come back. And once I get the book on Mary Magdalene, and my apologies, I've been moving and so I didn't have it, and I am gonna order it today because how amazing is this information, Raymond? I'm so excited that you brought it forth.
Thank you. If they want to check it out, I could suggest that they
Okay. How do we find it? Well, how do we get it?
yes, just go to Amazon.
Okay.
Um, it's printed in 8 different countries, and it's printed in the U.S. and South Carolina.
Wow.
And just go to Amazon and type in Keller, Gospels of Thomas and Mary Magdalene up in the search bar on Amazon, and it'll take you right there. Or if you just even type in Keller Venus,
It'll bring up all your books. Yeah.
it'll bring up all of those books.
All right. Now you're going to share with us the Venus Gospel. This is an account of George Adamski, 1963, visit to Denmark and Belgium. So this is part 4. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So this is the Southern California contactee, George Adamski, during his keynote speech to the Scandinavian UFO information assembled in Denmark on 5 May 1963, lamented that since the dawn of the age of flying saucers, opportunists have made a new religion out of these important UFO sightings and encounters, with instructions given by supposed space people and spirits. His reason for the following critique. And then he went on to explain that the space people are no more spooks and spirits than we are here. They have been made so by mysticism that has hurt the program far more than even other types of propaganda, like government disinformation. And so what he was saying is essentially the same thing that Helena Blavatsky had said, the co-founder of Theosophy, that it's the truth is wherever, basically, there's no religion higher than truth.
Right.
And truth is wherever you find it. Many of Adamski's followers wondered why he spoke so often of the space people's philosophy in contrast to their science and religion, because the philosophy is more scientific than anything else, and it combines science and religion.
Right.
Religion. So that was the
and that's where we're going too, Raymond, where science and religion are finally starting to come together a little bit more. I mean, it's been a long, slow process, but it's starting to get there.
Right. There's a definite synthesis of all knowledge, of all accumulated gnosis, of all knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that there's one church over another church, or one religion over another religion. It's that flame of truth that's within us.
Yes.
That counts, because Jesus said, wherever 2 or more are gathered in my name, I'm there with them.
Right.
Now, when you look in the Bible at the word for church, it's ecclesia, which just means a group, just an assembly of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's fantastic. Wow.
In the vernacular of the day, when you talk about the church, you're just talking about Jesus peeps, right?
All right. I love that. Raymond, we got to get out of here for today. We have been talking, you and I, for over an hour, and we're going to have you back. We'll just have to have you back in a couple months so we can talk more about the book, that you just completed. And then maybe by that time, you'll be able to tell us about the new one. But I just want to thank you for coming today.
You're quite welcome, Nancy. It was a great privilege to be here and to be on your program.
Thank you.
information. It's just coming out, and so you're one of the very first ones that I've done a program on this about, and I really appreciate that opportunity of helping me get this
Oh,
information.
no, this information is so very important. And all of it is. Every single thing that you talked about today is so important for humanity. And it's interesting, Raymond and I both wrote down the same information that we felt that humanity should hear today. And we hadn't even talked, and we were telepathically, we were right on each other's, mindset of what really needed to be said today to help, to do what we can.
Oh yeah,
I'll let you take
I
this.
made little
Yeah.
notes before the thing of what I wanted to cover, and it was exactly what you wanted to cover. So that was just
Take this down for a second so we can say goodbye to everybody, Raymond. We'll get out of here for today.
okay.
Yeah. Not that there is, thank you so much for sharing all of this information with us so that we can, and we can, absorb it, and then we can teach other people, and we can teach our children about these things and let them know what, some of these things that Mary has said. These are things that we should be taught when we're young. What she is teaching us, and what you have revealed in this book is really the Gospel of Thomas and Mary is a lot of things that we just were never taught, to be honest with you, Raymond.
Oh yes, there's many things in here that are new revelations, and be very happy to share that information in future programs.
Yeah.
Discuss the contents of the other books as well.
Right.
When Jesus was a boy growing up in Nazareth, you don't hear anything about that from contemporary preachers.
Right.
When Thomas traveled through India, and what Jesus taught his disciples, to include Mary Magdalene, who is defended in the Gospel of Thomas as being the 13th apostle.
Yes. And she was cut out of the Bible.
Yes.
Which is terrible. All right, Raymond, we're going to have to get out of here today. Give everybody your contact information before we go.
Sure. If you want to reach me, you can go through Anya Schaefer, the Venus Spirit site, just there, or through Rob Potter at thepromiserevealed.com.
Fantastic. Raymond, thank you. Hey, you guys, this is Nancy. You're out. This is High Road to Humanity, here today with Raymond Andrew Potter. Raymond Andrew Keller, and he's talking about Rob Potter, so I got Rob Potter on the mind, but they call him Cosmic Gray. He's been around for a long time. He does work with the Venusians. We'll have him back soon. Make sure you guys share this show, because this is really good information that we need to get out to the world, and we will have him back again. But this is Nancy, you're out. This is High Road to Humanity. I wish everybody a fabulous week, and God bless. Thank you, Raymond. Take care.
Thank you, Nancy. Keep looking up.
All right.